Hello everyone. This behind you is central Minnesota, specifically the Two Rivers Township. Some various close towns by it are Bolus, Royalton, Holdingford. The reason why I'm here is not because I love central Minnesota, even though it is where my family grew up. It is because this is where the last remnants of the Holdingford Rusyns are. In short, there's Orthodox Church here. It was constructed in 1895. It served the Rusyn community that had immigrated from central Lemkovina and from the Prešov area of Slovakia. And they made a home here. And they had it for a long time. And it was the church, St. Mary's Church. It was around for about 100 years. But by the 1970s and 80s, barely anyone attended. Many of the Rusyns had either converted to Catholicism, Protestantism, things like that. So in the end, it was razed to the ground, and now over here is the cemetery, all that's left of a once fairly large Rusyn community. So let's go take a look. As you can see, we are now at the cemetery for St. Mary's Church, an Orthodox cemetery, one of only a few in the entire state of Minnesota. It is not government run or run by any church. It's run by a couple individuals, as you can see. So it's just a quaint little place. The real interesting stuff lays inside, though. So let's go in. One interesting thing about St. Mary's Church is that when it was built in 1895, I believe, maybe not right in 1895, but soon after, Tsar Nicholas, the Emperor of Russia, actually donated a chandelier to the place. And that hung in the church even when nobody went to any of the services anymore in the 80s and 90s. And I believe it was donated to this Orthodox church in St. Cloud. But it's just kind of interesting to see the connection to such a famous figure such as a Tsar of Russia. It's kind of amazing. As you can see, all that's pretty much left here is the dome, cross, and tombstones. This Russian Orthodox St. Mary Church of Two River, Minnesota, 1902. And we can go check out the dome here. One interesting thing about the Holdingford area, or perhaps not interesting, but something to understand, is that this area, even though it had a major Rusyn immigrant population, was not primarily made up of Rusyns. They had come, and there was already a settled establishment of German, Silesians, and Polish people from the Kashubia region. So Rusyns, even here, were never, back in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s, were never even a majority in any of these towns around here. So, as you can see the cross up there, you can almost see a kind of wood plank. If my memory serves me correct, the church was actually back here, or it was at least somewhere around here, because, there's no graves here. So I could be wrong. It could have been somewhere else. But at least for here, they put the cross and such here. Suppose we can go look at some gravestones here. Careful to not step on their gravesite or touch there. As you can see, Yarosak, I believe. Don't know if that's a Rusyn surname or not. But many, surprisingly, of these gravestones actually do have Rusyn surnames. So I don't know if, for example, Grabowski was, but they're certainly Slavic. And from my research, many of them might be Polish as well, but certainly in the more Rusyn variety. So as you can see, Kosur is one. I'll try to get as close as I can here. This one person in the back here is Maria Habash or Habas. You can see maybe not. That's definitely a Rusyn surname from Blazhov. It's now part of Tiki Potok. This one I found most interesting. I couldn't find anything online about it, but it's just 2 crosses. That's it. Nothing more. Wonder where wonder who those were. And as you can see, just right on the kind of border is just endless farmland. So yeah, I mean, this is, as you can see, I mean, it's not really, there's not that many graves here, of course. There's not that many at all. It's kind of interesting how, Voronyak, Chuba. Let's see, you can get here, Chuba. So certainly Slavic of origin. Perhaps someone would be able to tell me if these are definitely Rusyn or not. And this is kind of the only other real major part here or major gravestones, very gigantic in size. You have Kvichak, Dun, Plafsan, Plafkin. Let's see. I don't think that's necessarily I don't think that's just a picture of Jesus, I believe. It's not a picture of them. So yeah, this is pretty much it. That bench in the way back, it's just some random Minnesota bench. There's nothing really interesting about it. But I'd be interested to see where these people come and, where they had originated. It is fascinating, all these things. So anyways, I think right about now we'll transition over to the church in St. Cloud and see if I can get in it and see if I can find any of the chandelier or any of the artifacts in which came from this church. All right, so unfortunately the church is closed. I thought it would be open for some reason. Not sure why I thought that. So unfortunately there's no relics or anything like that in which we can look to see. Can't check out for the chandelier either, unfortunately. But nevertheless, it is cool to see the only Orthodox church in central Minnesota. So perhaps sometime I'll go back, but until then, this wraps it up. The incursion of Rusynness into central Minnesota is now over.